Okay. So if I was explaining to like a normal person, regular person, what super soldiers are, I would say a lot of it is like programming. It was like a matrix within a matrix, and that's what we're trying to get away from. We're trying to get out of that. If I were to explain to like a normal regular person like on this 3D timeline what a quote unquote super soldier is, I would say, well, at this point, like where we're at is just like we are people who are representing true history, or like re-emerging true history, because a lot of this stuff is blotted out. And one of the dark horses in true history is Ares, god of war. If you go back to like the Olympian times, it was like the story of Ares and Aphrodite. This would have been love and war. You can rewatch the story of them, but like they were the least liked. Nobody liked them except each other. Think about it. When the world falls to the darkest point, what is lacking so bad in this world at this point? It's love, obviously, which is what Aphrodite embodied, and war, which is like people are so sick of it. So, in the old timeline of Ares and Aphrodite together, I think it was Zeus put them in a net, right? So it was just the two of them. And that's very representative of how much war has been going on for so long. It was like war after war after war after war for so long. It was like the two were just held in a net. And if, you loved a man, he would go off to war. It was like, it was awful. So people have grown again to hate, again, the embodiment of love and the embodiment of war. People hate both of them. A lot of people have lost the courage to like cultivate love because I think they are scorned from the curse. If you don't mind me saying, it's probably not even a curse, but because of the relationship between love and war. So like people find that there's more peace in avoiding war at all costs. There's more peace in avoiding war at all costs. But there's no peace in that, right? We have, as a humanity, people have to admit to themselves, no matter how good your life is in this 3D matrix, everybody needs to admit to themselves that there is nothing better than love, which requires a war. But they're so peaceful and content and okay. They're content. They found their cult. They found their people. They've got their money. So they're like, well, we don't want to cultivate that because we don't want war. Because the two are in this realm absolutely synonymous. You can't have love without war. You can't have it. This is the dark horse that I heard, I don't know, was back in like February. Time is so weird. God told me there is a dark horse. And the dark horse, I believe, in recent meditation, is actually the reappearance of Ares, god of war. People have grown to hate war so much, they've created fake wars. This is the problem. In the fake ass world that we live in, they're creating fake wars all over the place, right? Has nothing to do with you. And you're like, great, because I'm in America with peace. But in America, all these people with peace are not cultivating love because it takes courage, right? Because it takes reducing of the pride. You have to let go of your pride. You have to fight for this thing. It's no wonder that all this stuff is happening and all these people are coming out of the woodwork, and I get the opportunity to converse with somebody from 10 years ago, and I'm like, dude, it's like we met and then you just let the entire world come against you, and then I I guess I just let the entire world come against me. I guess we were just under hypnosis. But I was like, why didn't you do anything? Why didn't you do anything to stop it? And he said, this is just the world. And I'm like, yeah, but why is that the way things have to be? Why did you have to go off and just live some nonsense life? I find you still doing the same effing thing you've always done. Why did we have to go through any of this? Why did we have to do this? Oh, well, that's just the world. Well, they have made a world so full of war that people will do anything to avoid war. They've become so passive, so ignorant. They've become so fearful, so lacking of courage to support a world that is cultivated out of love, true love, love, beauty, the truth. The truth. The truth is synonymous with love. That's why there's no truth in America. That's why there's no love in America. That's why you have so many mismatched couples. Because we boomeranged out of Ares and Aphrodite being stuck in the net that Zeus put over them. So it was just the two of them. If you loved a woman, your ass is getting shipped off to war. Good for you. Like, good luck with that. So people have, in their souls and their spirits, they have become very, what do you call it? Like, they have a knee-jerk reaction to love, because in the past, love meant your ass was getting shipped off to war because Ares and Aphrodite were stuck in the net. Okay, but they got out of the net, and then we're living in this sort of like free will universe, like Satan and Lucifer ruling the world. Everything's willy-nilly, and then still people have this in their DNA where they find more peace in cultivating relationships that suck ass. There's so much divorce. Children are misbehaving. They do not respect their parents because their parents don't even respect each other because they're choosing the wrong mates. They're choosing the wrong people. So the dark horse in this late hour is actually Ares, god of war, reappears as Mark Antony. His best friend, Marcus Corvinus, Ares, god of war. Also in love with Cleopatra. Everyone was in love with Cleopatra because she was a human embodiment of love. So Caesar was her spouse. I don't even know if they ever had sex. Doesn't matter. Mark Antony was her spouse. When Caesar died, he felt unsupported naturally, so he went off to Rome to bang whores and drink alcohol to cover up his sadness for the loss of Julius Caesar. Meanwhile, she was in Egypt just sitting there like, what am I supposed to do? Because my father died and my husband is now fucking whores in Rome and won't come home. So she faked her death, and then in turn he killed himself, and then in turn there was a third person involved. It's the dark horse, Ares, god of war. In turn, it was Cleopatra's like confidant and Mark Antony's best friend, Ares, god of war, reappearing. Fell into a deep depression, but the man still had the courage to continue on life. Built temples, which were destroyed, blotted out of history. Look up the temples of Marcus Corvinus. They destroyed his temples. They decapitated all his statues. They didn't want anyone to remember this person, the best friend of Mark Antony. Reappearing again as Kaiser Wilhelm, same dude, Ares, god of war, reappearing again. Marcus Corvinus, reappearing again. In this lifetime, cousins with Alexandra Fedorovna, human embodiment of love, and then Tsar Nicholas, the reappearance of Mark Antony, reappearance of the two. So again, they were not sexual with each other, they were cousins. But still, he had a deep love for her, and when those two died, he continued on, right? Kaiser Wilhelm had to, at some point, collapse he was the emperor of Germany. He had to, at some point, admit to himself that the world was falling to the dark side of the moon. At some point, he had to pass the baton to Hitler, who in turn created a revolution, which became a big giant lie, We're still living the giant lie, but the truth is, it needed to happen. And there was a lot of pride involved in the decision to pass the baton to Hitler, but it had to happen. It had to happen. You can't push back the floodgates for so long. At some point, every single person needs to recognize that war is more important than lies. That love is more important than lies. This is the dark horse in my meditation that I heard many months ago. The dark horse is the reappearance of Ares, god of war. In this modern day, we do so much to thwart war, to put off war, but it matters. It matters because back in the day, ancient times, everyone hated love and war together except the two of them. Everyone hated them except each other. They were the only two people standing in ancient times. Ares and Aphrodite were the only two people standing in ancient times in solidarity with each other, while the entire worldly world was like, we freaking hate them. But they always reign supreme. They will always come back around. This is the dark horse. Love and war will always find themselves again. And it's no wonder there was a smear campaign against the two of them, or if they were stuck in the net and it meant war constantly by some fake ass people, whatever they are, alien invasion, like this infiltration of just nonsensical, non-human, old alien gods just doing their war for so long, sending them apart. That's the dark horse. I hope I made my point. This is the dark horse. This figure is so blotted out of history. Like, I didn't even know about Kaiser Wilhelm until like 5 years ago. I didn't know anything. Like, you would have no ability to ever find out about Marcus Corvinus if you didn't meet him in real life. He has like a Wikipedia page. That's it. They're like, deuces, we freaking hate this guy. And the world will say that's a good thing. It's a good thing because the world is so full of lies. Because people are so full of lies. It's like they've become so weak. They just want the lie in order to thwart off war. But in ancient times, at the end of the day, the only two people who were standing together in solidarity were Aphrodite and Ares together, and everyone hated them. Everyone, including Zeus, hated them. But they were the only two people standing together in solidarity at the end of an era. At the end of an era, they're the only two people. In recent timelines, the woman was killed. So naturally, the man have to hand it over to Rome, have to hand it over to Hitler, like have to hand it over. Hand it over. The return of the Antichrist. The return of the Antichrist. You're getting the return, the reappearance of Julius Caesar, the return of the human embodiment of Hitler. Like, you're getting the return of probably Zeus, like, for in some sense. Hades, Zeus, whatever. Two in the one, twins in the one. Yes, because at some point, you people have to stop lying to yourselves. You can't live healthily. I mean, why is there such a health crisis? Because love is healing. Love heals your DNA. Love is the ultimate immunity. Love is the only thing that matters. No one cares about pretty much anything else. If you're like upright, standing in the truth, like, you recognize that's the only thing that matters. And at the end of the day, the dark horse on the end of the timeline is Ares, god of war, who finally hands this shit over to the Antichrist. Finally forfeit this facade. Finally give up your despair about everything that has happened, and finally admit to yourself that we need the end, which is the beginning. Dang, I hope that made sense. Let's check your comments. Wow, so good to see you, Erickson. No, we don't want war. Yeah. Like, yeah, people don't want war, but it's like, at what cost, dude? You don't want war at what cost? Your family function just runs smoothly, and then you go home with no connection because you would rather your family function run smoothly instead of actually holding people accountable for the truth. But, like, you can do it lovingly. You don't have to do it mean. Maybe you don't talk to those people for a year and let them figure it out. Let God sort it out. Like, we need truth in our relationships. It starts there. Truth within yourself, truth within your business, truth within your relationships. Am I, like, yelling? Sorry. Lauren, a lot of what you're saying is not true. Good day, sir says, Lauren, if you keep romancing on the rapture, I'm not romancing on the rapture, you'll never really live. I'm trying to live. This is me trying to live. This is me trying to live, is actually figuring out what the hell's going on. And that's my motivation. That's within my spirit. I actually want to live. I don't want to die off of this reality because the reason why this reality needs to die so bad is because I need to live. This is me trying to live. It's the truth. And it comes with a huge revolution of the truth about HITLER double mustache man. It's gonna start there. We need to backtrack, dude. I'm not trying to die off of this reality anymore because it's not working, which is why I believe the spirit of Jesus Christ is quickly ascending as Satan. So the people who become ultra rapture focused Christian evangelizing are quickly turning into Satan, right? They're getting mean and condemning, telling people are going to hell. They're just sitting and rotting. And I feel like this was all part of God's plan because in the Bible it says, depart from me, I never knew you. A lot of people profess Jesus Christ, but at the end he's like, depart from me, I never knew you. I love my church so much because they only ever taught people how to hear from the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit was the only thing that was going to give you true wisdom and direction in the end times, and it's giving true wisdom and direction in the end times, and it's telling us that we are to actually stand up, rise, and actually take accountability, and it doesn't go from protesting or whatever like the whole world would have you say. It's going into your family and close relationships and just having an authority on the truth, just making people accountable for the truth, just presenting the truth, planting seeds of truth, and just living life. Like, we need to live life now. This is my biggest problem with the super soldier paradigm, and this has always been my biggest problem with the super soldier paradigm. I went into these conferences. I got in a fight with Penny Bradley, the biggest masochist of the super soldier paradigm, because as soon as I met her, I said, yeah, you're presenting all this stuff, but what are you doing to stop it? Because me, as a little human, just finding out about this stuff, I'm like, okay, first of all, what are we going to do to stop it? We need to stop it. Obviously, naturally, isn't that the reason why you're presenting your information? What is the reason? To ruminate in your masochism? Is it to create a cult? To find friends? Because I went in there thinking naturally all these people would have the same agenda as me, as a loving human being, which was to stop the torture, the torment, the entire super soldier paradigm as a whole. Stop the CIA. Stop the people that are doing this. And she fought me incredibly hard at first, and then we made quick friends, but the natural response was to fight me. Why? Because people don't realize the whole point of what you're presenting should be to end it, get out of it. These people are debilitated, they're sick, they have injuries, they have brain injuries, they have brain damage, and they're not living life. They're isolated together with each other. And I say none of that. No more of that. You need to come out of isolation, heal yourself, heal the DNA, get out of the situation. Like, you get my point, dude. No, the whole point should be to end the super soldier paradigm. That was always my agenda, and I'm coming back around to say this is what we should be doing. My understanding of the world is creative. Well, humans are very creative, so appreciate you. You want the world so badly 99% of the time, it's you and not the world. No. It's the world and me. You know, did I have a bad day or did the world have a bad me? You need to think about that. As a creator, many of us do not create reality. A lot of people do not create reality. No. This world can have a bad us. We don't need to be having bad days. We shouldn't be having bad days. The world should be having a bad us. Because I'm speaking to a majority of people that have creative ability. No. The world can have a bad us. Project yourself onto reality instead of letting reality project itself onto you. The world can have a bad me. Because I'm not going to have a bad day anymore. Not anymore. This is the growth in the Holy Spirit. This is what the Holy Spirit wants God's people to do. Let the world have a bad you. Because you're not going to have a bad day. Let the day have a bad you. That's the way we need to be thinking. John Coleman, Tavistock Institute. I'll have to check that out. By yourself, the book, sir. Check that out. Love doesn't pay bills for the most of us. That's the point. Monetary reset. What is happening with money? Because in the Bible it says there are people that embody the Jezebel, but then there are men who allow the Jezebel spirit. They tolerate the Jezebel spirit. In Revelation 17:8, it's the beast that was and is no longer. The beast throws off the whore, which in turn creates a monetary reset, because the beast throws off the whore. Because people at large, people with the creative ability that I was talking about, if you have creative ability, if you have manifestation powers, you're to never have a bad day. The day is to have a bad you because of it. You're not going to have a bad day because of the day. No. The day can have a bad you because of it. Because we recognize people with the Holy Spirit have manifestation powers. That is what the Holy Spirit is instructing God's people to do. Make the day have a bad them. Everything is changing, which can only result in monetary reset, which is very characteristic of Revelation 17:8. The beast that was and is no longer. It's the men no longer tolerate the Jezebel spirit, which is going to incur a monetary reset, collapse, whatever you want to call it. Because love don't pay the bills. But guess what? What is God's ultimate agenda? It's love. It's harmony. So if love don't pay the bills, what the hell's going to happen to your bills? They're going to go away. Monetary reset's going to occur because it is only God's will for love to reign supreme. Tim Riffat had said many years ago, he said in the end, the super soldiers are going to be supercharged by love. Their power and their energy is going to come from the power of love itself, and that's it. And that was quick and in passing, but I remembered it because it's true, which means everything's going down the shitter in terms of money in the way of the world. Love don't pay the bills. Yeah, but whores don't pay health. Whores give you bad health. They give you problems. They give you headaches. It sucks. So what happens instead? If love don't pay the bills, then I guess what? The bills are going to have to go bye-bye. It's all going to have to go bye-bye. The money's going to have to change. And it is changing because if you recognize, if you cultivate God's will through love, notice how you make more money. I've made more money recently than I have in my entire life. Because, love don't pay the bills. Yes, it does now. It does now. There's an energy surrounding love and cultivating the truth that God is bringing people together. There's an economy of people. If you're in the economy of the government, yeah, your love don't pay your fucking bills. If you're in the economy of God and love, yeah, dude, love is starting to pay the bills again. And then it's going to change because all these people can't survive that paradigm, but it's happening and it's evident. Thanks for all your good comments. Sir, good day, sir. Appreciate you. Stealing a child's essence. Yeah, they F with you as a child. It's not right. Like, the way people would have been if they weren't effed with as a child is the way God is going to rejuvenate them. God's gonna rejuvenate people back to the way they should have been if they were never effed with as kids. Lauren, you aren't a super soldier. I am not a super soldier. I am stuck in a cage somewhere, somehow, and it's because of whatever reason. I'm not a super soldier. I'm not fighting. I don't do anything but sit in a cage. So that's why I come out to say, listen, I don't want to sit in a cage anymore. So you people have to figure it out because a lot of you belong to us. We need a lot of you to stop doing all the agendas of the enemy and start doing the agendas of God, because I'm sitting in a cage somewhere and I need to not sit in a cage somewhere anymore. This is where my fury comes from. Just scrolling through. Eric says your jabs are pretty weak. Well, I mean, the weak jabs are like they present like good conversation, but yeah, and all. Like some of the trolls actually deep down, I think they have good motivations because their comments are so like inversed that it gives you the opportunity to present the write up version of reality. So like trolls will come in and they'll say stuff, not saying you're a troll, sir, good day, sir, not saying you're a troll. But sometimes if trolls come in, I mean, they serve a purpose because they're going to say the inversion of the truth. So it gives you the opportunity to like be like, oh, yeah, that's a good point, and then present the true reality of the inverse that they're saying. So I like all your comments, you guys, and I appreciate y'all so much, and it's great to see you. That's it for now. Holy smokes. Check you later. This was a loaded one. Well, because it's like he's like, oh, well, you know, you think you have a grasp of reality. Like, this is the battle of reality. It's the humans with manifestation powers against the Matrix. So the Matrix wants to invert reality, but we are here through God's will to put reality back right side up, because reality is so inverted. That's why narcissists always want to invert reality. They're always speaking the opposite of what's actually true. And this is why people get mad at us for pointing out the things that we point out, is because they're living in the inverse. They're living in the lie. So when we come around and we say, hey, so like, for example, ex-boyfriend, he's surrounded by Mossad agents. They are pretending to be Muslim, but they're not. They're Mossad agents for Israel. If I come out and say that, I mean, there's no proof for him for that, but I know that because God told me that. So if I come out and say it, he gets mad. And I say, okay, well, instead of getting mad, look at their personality. Everything they say is very pedophilic. The woman is very pedophilic towards her sons, and the husband is very homosexual, and the woman is just a beard, right? So like, they might not see what we see. They might not be like, oh yeah, Mossad, oh yeah, I understand it. No, they won't do that. But instead, what you can do is say, yeah, but if you pay attention, the woman's actually a lesbian and she's very pedophilic towards her children. All she ever does is talk about their penis. It's very strange. It's not right. And the dude is gay, obviously. And he's just she's just his beard. And like, when you point out details like underlying the truth, they get mad because they can't deny it, right? They can't deny these things because it's evident, right? If you're looking for it, it's evident. So like, reality is so layered. So I feel like God comes in, he tells us Mossad agent, okay? And you're like, oh, well, I can't just go to somebody and say, oh, your seemingly best friend is a Mossad agent. No, they won't understand. But what I can say is, these people are actually like what I said. And you know, they can't deny it at that point. Like, they can't. There's always bad behaviors within people who do bad things. So you can point out the bad behavior, but a narcissist doesn't want to see it, right? Because the world is hardwired to live in the lie. But God is giving you little seeds to plant in people to like put reality back upright. Because for every major, like, what do you call it? Like, major player in the game, you know, they have their own major players coming against you. That's why they were put in place. They were put in place to stop the agenda. So naturally, someone like you, an agent of God, comes in and they are like, okay, well, I do not have the curse that men have. So I come around and I'm able to see, and God tells me, and I can't just say that's a Mossad agent, but what I can say is chick's lesbian, dude's gay, all she ever talks about is her children's wieners. That's fucking weird. She wears whore clothing. Why? She's a 50-year-old woman. Why is she dressed like a whore? This is bizarre. And if you really think about it, they're not actually Muslim. They're pro-Israel Mossad. Think about it. Wonder about it. Their personalities are bad. They're hyper-controlling. If you go against anything they say, they get angry. Red flag number 1. If you do everything they say and then you go against it because I say so, or because you're just like, I'm gonna F around and find out, and these people get mad, red flag. Handlers, very bottom of the spectrum, very top of the spectrum, they're Mossad agents. They were sent in to control you because evil always precedes what good is about to do. But God sent in his agents to put this stuff right. It's personal. It's relational. You don't have to go out and protest streets. Just start working stuff out within your direct facility. You know? Just start there. That's where the power lies. All right. Oh, you grew up in Round Rock? That's cool. Love to meet you. I know. Woman's beard, exactly. All these gay dudes. Gross. How many of these people that started America, like, look at their wives. They're all dudes. All their wives are dudes. Like, never mind. I'm just going to stop there. Like, a lot of these pioneers of America, their wives were dudes. Big time. Like, just check it out. All right, check you later. Have a good night. Didn't want this to be too long. All right, bye.